I am Mandy. My name's Mandy Stacy. I've been here. August will be 12 years.
12 years.
Mhm.
And what roles have you served here?
I came in as an admissions counselor, and I did that for 3 years, and then I rolled over into student success counselor, and I did that for 11 years, and then, no, that can't be right. I did that for 7 years, and then last year it rolled over into an advisor position.
And you were a student here also.
I was way back when. It
Okay.
was a completely different world here.
So you did your 4 years here, and remind us of what degree you got.
I did criminal justice. It was my plan in life from the time I was a little girl, I wanted to work with inmates. I wanted to make a difference in that side of the world, and that was always my plan. And I did it for about 7 years.
Gotcha.
I loved working with inmates.
And so as a kid, you wanted to be working with inmates as a kid?
I did. I wanted to work with people. I wanted to be able to make a difference with, I guess, the people that maybe I felt like the world had forgotten. People who had made bad choices, and I just wanted to be their person. I wanted to be the person who helped them get into a better place in life, I guess you could say. Work with them, work with their families. So I came and I pursued a degree in criminal justice, and I did an internship with the district court, which led into opportunities. I was a teen court coordinator for several years, and I absolutely loved that. And I worked with a criminal defense attorney, which is what put me in the jail working with inmates. Right. And I loved it. Loved it.
So as a kid, a desire to work with inmates, people on the fringes, but today, working in student success as an advisor, and so, various different pathways there. But so if we were to say, hey, Mandy, what is your dream job? What would be your dream job?
You're going to laugh really hard at me because this is not something that's realistic at all in the world. This is going to sound very childlike. But in my heart of hearts, if money was no object and I could just do anything I wanted to do, I would be the lady at Food City who blows up balloons and gives to people in the flower department. I think that's the happiest job in the world. Nobody who goes to get balloons is in a bad mood. They are glad to go get their balloons, and I would love to be able to give it to them. Right? If I ever win the lottery, I don't play lottery, but if I did, that would be my dream job. But I have to say, doing what I do is pretty darn close.
Helping people be happy and...
The way I look at it, a lot of people who come in here, if they're not making the grades that they want to make, if they're not reaching their goals in the classroom, on the basketball court, in life, whatever it is, typically it has nothing to do with the classroom itself. It has nothing to do with the classes. It has nothing to do with their ability in their sport. It has to do with things outside of that realm. And usually if you can help people work that stuff out, they're able to concentrate, they're able to focus and do what they need to do. So I believe it is my mission in life to help them squash that so they can do what they need to do. I think helping other people find their dreams and achieve those is part of my calling. That is what I'm supposed to be doing.
So how did you get on? I mean, obviously all kinds of things in life that spur us in different directions, right? So what spurred you on to this direction?
If you had asked me while I was in college or told me that I was going to be back here working, I probably would have laughed. It wasn't anything that was on my radar in any way, shape, or form. But when I was a student here, I did my work study in admissions. And I worked with Melinda Lynch, who was the director of admissions. I was a student ambassador. And when recruits would come in, they were assigned to me. I lived in Page Hall, and we had empty rooms in there. And I would have them in the evenings. I would take them to dinner, take them to the movies, tell them about campus. The things that they didn't feel comfortable asking their admissions counselors, they would ask me. So I knew a lot about the school even then because of that role that I played. And I'd worked in the court system for several years, and I ran into Melinda one day. And I felt like in my heart of hearts that the Lord was leading me in a different direction, like He was taking me in a different direction. And I just asked her, I said, if you hear of anything open in the community, let me know. I might be interested in doing something different. She was like, okay, I'll think about it. I got home that afternoon and she was on my answer machine and she said, I don't know what I was thinking can work for me. And I immediately started as an admissions counselor. And my heart will probably always be with recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely loved it. And I did that for 3 years. But a lot of what I did when I worked in admissions was stuff that I did on the side on my own. And those extras that I was doing was what actually morphed into the job that I had after that as student success counselor.
So, obviously, you do so much more than what's in a job description, right? That's kind of your MO. But, so if you were to define your call, right? If someone said, Mandy, define your call in one sentence. Mandy Stacy is called to fill in the blank.
Be a light. I believe wholeheartedly that the Lord put me on this earth to be a light to people. From the time I was a little girl, I could sense struggles in people, and I've always tried to help, to serve, to remove obstacles, to help people get to where they need to be. I feel like in a lot of cases, people are dealing with issues that kind of shade their calling or make them forget what it is they're supposed to do, or make them feel like they can't, or it takes them to a dark place and they just don't want to do it anymore. And I feel like if you can be the Jesus in the room, it allows them the freedom to breathe and to get back to center and do what they need to do to get back to where they need to be. And I believe that's why I'm here. I believe that's why I did what I was doing before with the court system, and I believe that's why I'm doing what I'm doing now, just on a different level. And it's really interesting to me the way the Lord works everything out. I think it takes everything you do to get you to where you need to be, whether it's for yourself or for someone else. When I was working in the court system, I did a lot of networking, and I made a lot of contacts, made a lot of friends, not just with people within the court system, but when you work in criminal defense, you're working with all kinds of families, you know, a pharmacist family, a doctor, teachers, CPAs, anybody you can think of. Their families have struggles and they have to hire lawyers for help. And when they have good results and you're able to help them, get them into rehab, do these different things to get them where they need to be, they are so appreciative. And they care so much about what you've done for them and what you've done for their family. They always end it with, if there's ever anything I can do for you. There has never been a time since I've worked here that a student has needed to do an internship or job shadowing or sometimes even get jobs in their area that I've called someone and said, hey, can you help her out? And someone said, no, I'm sorry, I can't. They always say, yes, bring them to me. It just opens the doors for so many things. And those are aha moments for me. And it's like, oh, that's the part of the reason this happened, because 10 years down the road, I was going to have this girl who needed to do some job shadowing and wasn't having any luck getting someone to let her do it, you know? And then you make a phone call and they're like, yes, absolutely. So I think all of those are little God winks.
Yeah. So, do you feel like your job aligns with that call that you have?
Yes. I think that my middle job, I went from admissions to the student success counselor position to advising. I think the middle job was more aligned with that than what I'm doing now. But yes, absolutely.
In ways that you can be that light, you can be that squashing those obstacles.
It's more structured now, whereas before I could literally meet them where they were at any time. I spent a lot of time in the library. I spent time in dorm rooms. I spent time, I could meet them wherever they needed to meet at any given time. Now I have more back-to-back appointments, and it's harder to be able to do that sort of thing, but I still help. I help after hours. I help whenever I can. I make it work. It's just not as immediate as it was at one time.
So you've been a really influential person for a lot of people. Who's been influential to you to help you kind of discern or understand this call in your own life?
I'm not sure I know how to answer that because I think different people along the way help you get to where you need to be. Melinda was the one who brought me in here, so obviously her. Ron Dameron, I would probably say more than anybody. I was always in awe of him, even when I was a student here. I was in, because of me being a student ambassador, I would take students to his office and to student services, and I was always amazed with the fact that he could have at that time he was dean of students. He could have a whole string of people go in his office, mad as a wet hen, and they're all arguing and they're all saying their piece. He would listen to them, and he would talk to them, and one by one they would walk out, every one of them with their head held high, and they all thought they won. And I was amazed by that because I thought, how can he make everybody think that they were the one that was right, that they were the one? And I always wanted to be able to be that person. I wanted to be that problem solver. I wanted to calm situations the way he did. He's just so calm. He has such a way with people. It's beautiful to watch. Even when I was recruiting, I always took my recruits and the families to him. Never, ever, ever was there a time that I would take a family to him that he wasn't able to connect to some way or another from where they live or whatever it was. He has a gift. He has a real gift.
So, what did you do to put yourself in a position to do your job now? So, if someone said, "Hey, I love Mandy Stacy. I love what she does. How in the world could I get there?" Right? How does a person put themselves in a position to get where you're at?
I'm not really sure how to answer that. I don't know if we find a call, if we follow a call, or if our call finds us. I feel like in my situation, definitely the Lord put me where He wanted me. For as long as I can remember, He has put me where I needed to be. And I think for everybody, that's pretty much the case. I think we make plans. And that's important. I think we have goals. We want to be a teacher. We want to be a doctor. We want to be a social worker. We want to be all of these things. And you go to school for it, and you plan for it, and you map it out. And maybe that's what you do. And maybe that's what you do for a while, but maybe that's something you do for a season. Maybe that's not permanent. I think everything we do is important, and all of those steps have to happen the way they do to get us where we need to be. But at the end of the day, the Lord is going to put us where we're supposed to be at any given time. Our advisors, as far as that goes, everybody has a different degree. So, I mean, anything could bring you here, really. Like, whatever career path you choose, anything can bring you here.
So you having this influence in people and trying to kind of squash the obstacles, remove the barriers in people's lives, because you talked about all this stuff that happens way outside the classroom, right? All this invisible stuff, but maybe visible, it's just not in the classroom. And but obviously too, like everybody else, you've had obstacles to get to this place in your life. And how have you dealt with the obstacles, navigated the obstacles to still live into your call?
You just pray through it. You just keep going. Like I said, that at the end of the day, I don't think any of us can destroy the plan that God has for our life. I don't think any of us are that powerful. And I think everything we do to get there is important and it's vital, and you need that piece to be able to perform at this piece, So you just pray through it, and you just keep trekking along, and